Back to our top story, a female driver in custody after leading LA County Sheriff's deputies on a wild pursuit from Compton to Orange County after stealing an LASD cruiser. This is the second local pursuit involving a stolen cruiser in less than a week. With more on this worrying trend, we are joined by Dennis Zine, a 55-year veteran of LAPD. Dennis, thank you so much for your perspective tonight. Twice in 6 days. What is your reaction to that? How does this happen?
Well, it happens because there's a key left in the ignition and the individuals get in the car and take off. That's what happens. So obviously the officers are going to be trained to take those keys out. But the problem is when you're on a stop, you want to have the emergency equipment. You have to activate. You got the radios. There's a lot of technical equipment in the vehicle, the computers, etc. And if you run those without the car running, you're going to have a problem with a dead battery. So there's a serious situation with the CHP situation. Officers investigating the collision. Individual jumps in the car, takes off, and ultimately jumps out of the car and basically commits suicide. The situation today with the deputy sheriff's vehicle, those vehicles do have weapons in them, and they are secure. But if a person knows and they have some experience in law enforcement, they may have an opportunity to get those weapons, and it would be a very serious situation. I think there's going to be a lot of training with the police officers. They don't have the tab, they don't have the fobs. What they have, what they have is it's a regular key, and that's how they start the car. The officer has it, the passenger has it. If there's a solo unit, that officer will have 2 keys. But the problem is this lack of respect for law and order, where you have the ability to jump in a car, a marked vehicle, and take off, and then a pursuit ensues, which we've seen happening more and more, this situation. But we see the pursuits constantly when people are fleeing from the police. So there's basically a lack of respect for law and order, and then subsequent to that, people get injured, people get killed in the collisions that occur. So I would just say it's a lack of respect to respect the law. And we know that car thefts is a problem. When you're stealing a police car, there's great consequences. I don't know what the ultimate is in court, if the judges look at this as a serious matter, or if the district attorney looks at it as a serious matter, but it's clearly a very serious matter when that happens.
So it looks like, it sounds like you say there needs to be sort of rethinking of our training. A lot of people watch this and they see, you know, the cruiser sort of was forgot to put in park. How does that happen? Is that just a mess up? Is that the policy? What happened?
Well, when you're trained how to operate the vehicle, I drove police cars, motorcycles, etc. I still do the black and whites. But the problem is when you're on a high visibility call, you're on a high tense call, you're going on a shooting call, you're going on a pursuit, whatever the situation may be, you're concentrating on officer safety, concentrating on apprehending the individual. At the same time, you want to maintain control of that vehicle. You don't have the time to get out of the car, lock all the doors, make sure the windows are up. Oftentimes it's hot summertime, you may have the windows down. You don't have the time if it's an immediate situation where you have to render aid, you have to jump into action. In those cars, normally people don't steal them, but obviously, as we've seen in the recent case, 2 stolen. This is not the first time this has happened in history of law and order, law enforcement. So the officers have to obviously maintain control of those vehicles. Does that mean taking the keys out? But then if you got your emergency lights activated and you got your computers running, that can then drain the battery. Then you try to start the car, you got a dead battery. So there's consequences with this. I don't know the answer other than locking the car, taking the keys when you exit the car. But unfortunately, in many situations, that's not practical. So what we need to do, the secondary officer, the officer riding passenger, riding shotgun, is basically the one that stands back and maintain control over that and make sure there's there. I understand in these situations, it was just one officer, the highway patrol officer, the deputy sheriff, the vehicle that was taken, and there was not a backup officer. So they're going to do some training. The bottom line is people should not be stealing police cars. If they do, there's great consequences. But the peril to the public when that police car is going down the road, if they do activate the emergency equipment, and then people think it's a real police car in action, it is a real police car, but the people in it aren't police officers or deputy sheriffs or highway patrol. It creates a dilemma. But unfortunately, those situations do occur, but there's got to be serious consequences if you do that. At the same time, law enforcement has to make sure those cars are secure.
Well, fortunately, no one was hurt, and this will certainly raise awareness about making sure that those secure your unit when you're out there on the streets. All right, Dennis, we appreciate your perspective. Thanks so much. Have a great night.